Are you able to view it? Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay, it is introduction to modeling, and the main objective to cover here the basic objective of modeling and how to do a model and types of model, their characteristics, how they are organized in architecture, and how we will evaluate a model by using the modeling notations in the architecture. Okay, what is the architecture? Just to recall, we have characterized architecture as a set of some principal design decisions. It is something, the PDD, where an architectural model is an artifact that captures some or all of the design decisions. Okay, so I already covered these things. I am going faster. Then, how to choose what to model? An architect and other stakeholders must make some critical decisions what architectural decisions and concepts should be modeled. Okay, and these are some cost benefit decisions because we are designing our architecture in such a way that the cost should be optimized. Okay, now the stakeholder driven model. Some concern 1, concern 2, concern 3, concern 5. And these are from the mayor and directing the art of system architecture. Here the stakeholders identify the aspects of the system they are concerned with. They will just decide what to model in the aspect 1, in the aspect 2, aspect 3, 4 and 5 or concern 1, whatever. Here the stakeholders will decide the relative importance of these concerns. Which concern is more important and which is less priority. And modeling depth should be roughly mirror the relative importance of the concerns. The modeling roughly will decide the relative importance of the concern. Okay, the basic architectural components here are the what do we model? The basic what are the basic components? First three things: component, connector, and interface are the three main things. Then their configurations and the reasoning behind it. Why we are connecting it? We should have the proper reason for it before the connection. Okay. Now, what do we model? The elements of the architectural style. It inclusion of some specific basic elements like the components, connectors and interface are the three basic elements we will define here. Okay. Now, the component, connector and interface, their types. What are the types and the constraints in between the component and connectors and their interactions? During the interaction between the component and connector, what are the constraints you are facing? Their behavioral constraints and their concurrency constraints. Okay, so these are some basic elements and their varieties we have to choose during the model of the architecture. Then the static and dynamic aspects. The static and dynamic aspects. Just a minute. Okay. From this word you could find the clear meaning of the statistics and dynamic aspects. The static aspects of a system don't change as a system runs. Once the system will be started, the static aspect will not affect the execution part of any architecture design. Example, the topology, the assignment of any component, their connectors to host, that will not be affected through these static aspects while designing the model. And the dynamic aspects do change as a system runs. Once the system started and once the execution of any source program will be started, then the dynamic aspect will bring the change to the system ROM. And example of it is the state of individual components or connectors or state of a data flow through a system. This line is often unclear. Consider a system whose topology is relatively stable but changes several times during the system startup. So these are some deviations or violations from the static and dynamic aspects. Means it is saying that the topologies are static aspects, but once the system started several times, it is also changes. So these are some confusions again associated with the modeling. Then some important distinction between the models of dynamic aspects of a system and dynamic models. The models of dynamic aspects of a system here means the models will not change. Okay, dynamic model means the models themselves change. The model itself will change itself for the requirement while system started running, and the dynamic aspects of a system means the model will not change. It is the system will started changing on the model. Then what do we model? The functional and non-functional aspects of a system. Already we have discussed some NFPs, non-functional properties, like the reliability, the qualities, the securities, and some other aspects which are not directly affect the model, but these are most vital of the architectural design. Which one? The non-functional properties. Also, we have to consider the main objective is to consider the functional properties. The functional properties, this system prints the medical records, and the non-functional, this system prints the medical records quickly and confidentially. You have to understand. Functional part means if we are printing some medical document, this is the functional part. Medical part means once it will be printed, how faster it should be, how quickly it should be to print the medical documents, and what the confidentiality it is measuring while printing. So confidentiality as well as quickly are the two non-functional properties, and printing the records is the functional properties. The architectural models tends to be functional. The models tends to be functional, but like rational, it is often important to capture some non-functional decisions. Also, it is important to capture the non-functional decisions, even if they cannot be automatically or deterministically interpreted or analyzed. All the non-functional properties are not analyzed or deterministically interpreted. Still, these are important to measure the quality parameter of any architecture. Now, the important characteristics of any model. First one, the ambiguity. A model is ambiguous if it is open to more than one interpretation. It will be create lot of confusions or ambiguity if it will be open to more than one interpretation. Okay. Then accuracy and precision. It is different. Accuracy and precision are different, but often conflated concepts. A model is accurate if it is correct, means if it will be correctly deciding the requirements or correctly deciding the values, and conforms to facts or deviates from correctness within acceptable limits. Also, it will provide some accurate or correct outputs, still slight deviation within a particular or a limit, within some limit, within a range, the error, what should be the error within a particular or a small certain range. And a model is precise if it is sharply exact and delimited. There will be no limit or no constraints we are applying or deploying in the model, and it is sharply exact, very straight. Very pinpointed output it will provide. Now, the accuracy and precision. You can check. First, four figures you can understand here. A, B, C, D. Here, the first one is very inaccurate because if you will check the star marks, you can check the star notations are randomly anywhere and imprecise. These are not sharply in a particular point. Okay. Now, it is incoherent or contradictory assertions. The next one, inaccurate but precise. Sorry, C, accurate but imprecise. Okay, these values are within the limit. The first one, in the first one, the stars are outside the range. You can check. That is outside the range. And in the second figure, that is accurate because the values are coming within the range or within some certain limit. But it is imprecise because they are not sharply exact into a particular point. So ambiguous or shallow assertions. The next one, inaccurate but precise. These are precise means in a particular point they are detailed assertions but they are wrong. And the next one, it is accurate and precise. It is the detailed assertions that are correct. All are in the towards the result and also they are very precise. The results are very precise. Now, the two parameters view and viewpoints. Okay. First, generally it is not feasible to capture everything we want to model in a single model or document. Exactly. So it is very difficult sometimes to capture all the requirements or to capture all the components in a single model or document. It is not feasible practically. So the model will be too big, complex and confused. If it is not possible to capture all the components, connectors and other documents to your model. So we create several coordinated models, each capturing a subset of the design decisions. Okay, so we have to create several coordinated models, and once they will be coordinated, their points through the viewpoints, each captures a subset of the design decisions. Generally, this subset is organized around a particular concern or other selection criteria. So we are organizing with some particular aspect and we have some criteria. We have some selection criteria, how to choose the coordinated points to merge all the documents to a particular model. So we call the subset model a view and the concern a viewpoint. The criteria what you are selecting, that is the viewpoint, we have to see, and the subset model that is organized in a particular concern, it is the view. See, here in the figure you can check the view and viewpoints. Okay. And the first figure, that is the deployment view of a 3-tier application. And the second one is the deployment view of a lunar lander system. Okay. Now, the server is the data store, connector and business logic, and the client is client logic, connector, and the client GUI. Now, in the viewpoint, both instances of the data point are viewpoint. In the viewpoint, we can visualize the figure. Here, we have some space system and ground system. One is server, another is client. Okay, just how we are both the instances of the deployment viewpoint is given. Deployment of a view of a lunar lander system and deployment of a 3-tier application. See, in different viewpoint, we are just observing the architecture. Then some commonly used viewpoints. These are the logical viewpoints, the physical viewpoints, and the deployment viewpoints. Okay. The logical viewpoints that captures the logical entities in a system are connected. Okay. This is often a software. This is for any software because it is logical viewpoint, software like this. And the entities in a system and how they are interconnected. It will just describe the logical viewpoints. And the physical viewpoints that capture the physical entities in a system and how they are interconnected. The physical viewpoint will nothing but some hardware devices. And here the entities in a system are interconnected through the physical viewpoints. Then the deployment viewpoints. This capture how logical entities are mapped onto physical entities. First on logical, then physical, and the deployment viewpoint, what it is saying, it is the mapping condition from the logical to physical entities, from the software components to the hardware devices, how the software is associating with the hardware devices. Now, some commonly used viewpoints. Concurrency viewpoints and behavioral viewpoints. First two or three words: logical, physical, and deployment. The concurrency viewpoints capture how concurrency and threading will be managed in a system. Because concurrency between the processes, and processes means there will be some threading of the sub processes or sub threading will be managed in a system. That is the concurrency viewpoint. Then behavioral viewpoints. It captures the expected behavior of a system. It will mainly handle with the behavior of any system. Which one? This is the behavioral viewpoint. Then consistency among the views. Okay, consistency among the views. The views can contain the overlapping and related design decisions. Often the same or related information will be present in two or more views. This will give rise to an important question. How does one know whether two views are consistent with each other? It will just ask an important question about whether the views are consistent with each other or not. So the main objective, the consistency among all the views. So there is some possibility that the views can thus become inconsistent with one. One view may be inconsistent with another. So views are consistent if the design decisions are constant. The design decision constraints are compatible, means they contain some compatibility design decisions, then the views will be consistent. But if the design decisions are not simultaneously true or not compatible or any complexity will be associated with any view, then it will be inconsistent. Okay, so views are inconsistent if two views assert the design that cannot simultaneously be true. The inconsistency is usually but not always indicative of some problems. Inconsistency is usually but not always, means it is occasionally occurs. Which one? The inconsistency with among the views but not always indicate any problem. It is a temporary inconsistencies are a natural part of some exploratory design. So to explain a design, these are some temporary inconsistencies, and mainly these are some natural parts of any view. And also the inconsistencies cannot always be fixed. We can't fix the inconsistency in all time, or always it is not possible to fix the inconsistency. So you can check here the example of any view inconsistency. Okay. Now, first there is a ground system. Then there is a lunar lander computer with the space link to some command module computer. Now, the lunar lander computer will connect to the command module computer, local network link. It is communicating, and that will connect to the ground system with some space link. Okay. Now, if we will see the view link, the lunar lander uses what system and the ground system. What is the difficulties you are facing? Now, landing the radar and their consoles, thruster control, all will be in the lunar lander by connecting to the space link and their IP stack. Then telemetry in the ground system, what is happening? Now the telemetry processing, the lander monitor, the ground console, and the space link will be connected here. Now, sometimes what will happen if there will be not any consistency in between the command module and the satellites, then the inconsistency will occur too. Here the space link will create some inconsistency due to the one of the, but it is not always the permanent one. It is a temporary view, we can say, and it can be solved, but some of the inconsistencies may not be resolved. Okay, some common type of inconsistencies. First one is the direct inconsistencies. Inconsistencies means the components simultaneously will show some difficulties or simultaneously a concerned lack of concurrency in between the two components. Then we can say it will create some inconsistencies between the components. So, first one is the direct inconsistency. This system runs on 2 hosts and the system runs on 3 hosts. Okay, this is the direct inconsistency. Either it is in a 2 host, then inconsistency may create, and the system runs on 3 hosts. Then refinement inconsistency. It is a high level or low level view of the same part of a system conflicts. It is a higher level or lower level conflict, and will create the inconsistency. Then static and dynamic aspect inconsistency. The dynamic aspects means the behavioral specifications that will create the inconsistency, and the static aspect is the topology, the inconsistency with the topology. Just I told earlier, because it is the topology are static. Sometimes as a violation or deviation, the topologies can be changed while the system runs. So it is the dynamic aspect as well as a static aspect. So it is a violation. It creates some conflicts. Okay. Then the common type of another some inconsistencies. The dynamic versus dynamic aspect inconsistency. This is a different description of dynamic aspects of a conflict. And also there are other inconsistencies like the functional and non-functional inconsistencies. So it has some inconsistencies associated with your model. And how will handle all the inconsistencies? Okay, next, just a minute. Okay, now will the evaluation of the modeling approach, we'll go for it. The evaluation of the evaluating the modeling approach, their scope and purpose, the basic elements, styles, the static and dynamic aspects, many more things. These are some evaluating parameters or evaluation approach. Once you are doing the modeling, means you need the evaluation for it. and evaluation in many aspects. What is its scope? What are the basic elements associated? What is the style? What are the static and dynamic aspects associated with your model? So these are some evaluating approaches. First one is scope and purpose.
Just one minute. For example, you are using the UML model.
Yes.
So we need to evaluate how good the style is, how good the accuracy is, how good the precision is, how clearly it removes the ambiguity. So we need to evaluate it. So what are the parameters to evaluate? Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So first one is the scope and purpose. What is the scope for your model? What is the objective of your model? So it will select what does the technique help you model? What technique you are associated for developing your model? Then what does it not help you model? So this will be decided with your scope. What will the technique help and what does not help to you model? So what is the scope of the technique? What is the intended to model it, and what is not intended to model? So these are some questions we have to ask for the purpose and scope. Then the basic elements. What are the basic elements or basic entities, the atoms that are modeled, and how they will be modeled? That can also be evaluated for any modeling. Then style. To what extent does the approach help you model elements of the underlying architectural style? What approach, up to what extent you are modeling the element that is underlying within your architectural style, that will decide in the style. Is that technique bound to the particular style or family of styles? It is bounded with any particular style, or if it is associated with a family of styles, it also have to be justified for the model.
Think of always UML. Up to what extent UML is a right kind of style to model the architecture. So
keeping in mind the UML diagram, you can understand these things. Why you are modeling? What are the basic elements of a UML diagram, and what are the styles you are using? Whether a particular style you are using, or a group of or family of styles we are using for the modeling. So keep in mind the UML diagram and just compare each one of the approaches. Next.
We'll read the last slide is on UML. We'll go to the 32 slide. When we will go, you will see all these styles of UML.
Yes, yes.
Now keep those things in mind. Keep those things in mind. Yeah. Go ahead.
Then the next one is the static and dynamic aspects. What static and dynamic aspects of an architecture does the approach help you to model? Just earlier I told you that static approach means the system will does not change or does not affect the architecture while it will run. But the dynamic aspect means it will change the model. It will change the model while the system will run. So how this approach will help to model the architecture, the static and dynamic aspects. And what are the conflicts you are facing with the static and dynamic aspects? Just like earlier I told, the topology. Although this topology is a static aspect, but sometimes running, during the system running, it will change its topological behavior. Then, the dynamic modeling. To what extent does the approach support models that change as the system executes? To what extent does the approach support models that can change the system executes? Okay. So, to what extent it will support for execution of the system? Then the non-functional aspects. To what extent that the non-functional approach modeling of a non-functional aspects of the architecture. Up to what extent it will support? Which one? Your model will support the non-functional properties. What the non-functional properties it is supporting and what it is not supporting. So up to what extent it is helpful for the non-functional aspects of a architecture. Now, the next one is the ambiguity. How does the approach help you to avoid the ambiguity? Because if there will be some ambiguous parameter associated during the modeling, so how to avoid? What approach you have to follow if any ambiguity occurs during the modeling? Then accuracy. How does the approach help you to assess the correctness of the model? Although there will be might error in your modeling during the modeling process, but it should be within a certain limit. It should not extend that limit. And how this approach will help you to assess the correctness of any model. That is with the you have for this we have to evaluate the accuracy. Then how precise it is result. How very sharply, how very in a pinpointed point it will provide the result. At what level of details can various aspects of the architecture will be modeled. Next, the viewpoints. Which viewpoints are supported by this approach? Because viewpoints means you are designing a larger architecture, but you are not able to place entire architecture in a single particular space. So you have to coordinate the viewpoints to combine the entire architecture. So you have to evaluate of how it is supported by the approach. Then the viewpoint consistency. If you are coordinating, if there are viewpoints, if there are consistency or if they are inconsistent, you have to again evaluate it. How does the approach help you to assess or to evaluate your maintain the consistency among the different viewpoints? That is the important one. Because you have a large architecture means you have a large number of viewpoints and you have to coordinate that viewpoints, and while coordinating that viewpoints and how you will maintain the consistency among all the viewpoints and how you will coordinate that viewpoints, and while coordinating if it is consistent or not, you have to check it or you have to evaluate it. Then
Deba, you have told somewhere, Deba, just 1 minute. You told somewhere na views and viewpoints.
Yes, sir.
You have told views and viewpoints.
Yes, sir.
Anywhere did you tell anywhere views and viewpoints?
Sir, already told that views and viewpoints. Views means views of any point, architectural modeling for any systems, and viewpoints is if a large architecture is there, then how to coordinate, because it is difficult in a particular instance to model entire the architecture. Once the architecture will be very larger, then what we will do? We have to first coordinate the viewpoints to merge a big architecture. To merge a big architecture, we have to coordinate the viewpoints. And while coordinating, we have to check the consistency. If that the second part of the architecture is more compatible or not. If it is not compatible, then it will be inconsistent viewpoint, and which should not occur. That also. Just a minute.
What happened?
Yes, I want.
These are the different approaches. These are the different approaches. The first one is the generic approach, the natural language, whatever the model the SRS is the natural language. Whatever you have written, it is the natural language. The problem you have written in the natural language, and then you try to understand the problem using the natural language. English like language, or Andrila will write in Bengali, or Somu will write in Telugu. So you write your problem in a language. So that is a very general way of dealing with a problem. Why we need a model? To solve a problem. So the first one is using some language. Then once you write down it, then you maintain some style to write it. So you write down in a PowerPoint style. I told that don't make more than 10 lines, make it bullet, right hand side a picture, left hand side a text. So in a particular style you write that in a PowerPoint manner. How it will be easily understood by your friends or your group members. Then third is UML. UML, you have studied it, how it helps to solve a problem. Whatever written is the English language, you try to solve the problem in some sort of structural and behavioral manner. First you identify how it behaves, then you fix up the structure. So third one is your UML. So three things come under generic, in a very general manner. So these three are generic. Then we become very much architecture oriented. We feel that all these three are not concentrating much on software architecture. So we move towards architecture direction. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So these are some modeling, solving the modeling approach. First, some generic approach, some early architecture description languages, and some domain and style specific languages, and then the extensible architecture description languages. Okay, first some generic languages. These are some natural languages, some PowerPoint style modeling, or the unified modeling language, or very commonly it is UML. Then in the architectural description language, we have three things like Darwin, Rapid, and Write. Okay, and these are very important things. We will cover one by one. Then the domain and style specific language, Koala, Weaves, and AADL, Advanced Architectural Description Language. Then the extensible architecture description language, or AXADL. Here what will cover the ACME, ADML, architectural description modeling language, and the extensible architectural description language. Okay. So first the generic approach, the early architecture description language, and some domain and style specific languages, and the extensible of the architectural description language. Okay. Now the same slide is there. First, the natural language.
I have covered that. You just cover it first. Yeah.
Yes. In the generic approach, it is the natural. It is the very simple language, or spoken or any written language, which is in English. What are the advantages? Highly expressive, accessible to the stakeholders, good for capturing non-rigorous or informal architectural elements like the rational or non-functional requirements. It will be helpful for capturing the non-functional requirements. Then plentiful tools are also available like word processors and other text editors. What are the disadvantages? It is ambiguous, non-rigorous, non-formal, and often verbose. Verbose means very verbs are complication in the verb, maintaining the verb in the sentence. If the verb is proper, if the verb is not proper, if it is about past tense, present tense, future tense, or some, the sentence is very much verbose means what? The sentence is complicated to understand. Some difficult word arrangements in the sentence. And it cannot be effectively processed or analyzed by some machines and software. Although it is very understandable by us or a spoken language, but it is difficult to be processed by the machines or the softwares. Then some examples. These are some theoretical aspects. I'm covering it faster. The Lunar Lander application that consists of the three components already we discussed: a data store, the calculation part or the component part, computational part, and the user interface component. The job of data store is nothing but to store and allow the components to access the all parameters like height, velocity, their fuel, their landing space, as well as other simulator, current simulator time. And the job of the calculation component is to often receipt of a born rate, the quantity, the retrieving values of the height, the values of the velocity, the fuel from the data store components, updates them with respect to the input born rate and store them in a new value pack. It will store it in a new value back to the system. It also retrieves the increments and stores back to the simulator type. It will also retrieve the increments. What is the increments are changed with all the values like height or the fuel or the velocity. Then it will again store back with the simulation time or simulator type. It is also responsible for notifying the calling component whether the simulator has terminated and what with what state. Okay. And the next one is the user interface. This is to display the current status of the lunar lander using the information of the data store and the calculation component. It will retrieve information using both components, calculation component and data store component. While the simulator is running, it retrieves the newborn rate values from the user and invokes the calculation component. Now, the related alternatives. The ambiguity can be reduced or rigor can be increased through the use of some techniques like statement templates. Okay, you have to use some techniques like the statement template. Now, the name interface on the name components, it list of elements as input and produces as output. The input means from the name it will take the input, means that input is nothing but the list of elements, and also output, it will provide the output whether it is synchronous or asynchronous. Both are accessible. This can also help to make some rigorous data easier to read and interpret, but such information is generally better represented in a more compact form. Then, the overall aspect of the natural language evaluation. First,
So how many points are there? How many points? 11. All these 11, keep it on your tip of your tongue. By 11 parameters, you will evaluate how good your modeling technique is. How good, in what way it helps you or not. These 11 parameters. Okay?
for each one, we will just evaluate this 11. For each one, for each languages. Okay.
For UML, for Darwin, for everything, whatever he told.
For write or rapid or for ADML, for XML, for Acme, for everything we will evaluate all the 11 parameters. The first one is for natural language evaluation.
Yes.
So here, the scope and purpose. Already we discussed, it is a gist part. It captures the design decision in prose form. It will capture the entire design decision. Then there are the basic elements. We can use the any concepts here. Then the style, it can be described by using more general languages. Whether you are using a particular style or a family of styles, it can be used using more general languages. Then the static and dynamic aspects. Any aspect can be modeled, whether it is a static or dynamic for the natural language evaluation. Then the dynamic models, no direct type to implement or run into the system. Then the non-functional aspects, it is expressive vocabulary available or but no way to verify. These are some expressive vocabulary Then ambiguity. Plain natural language tends to be ambiguous. Statement templates and dictionaries help. Then accuracy, manual, reviews and inspection. Then precision, we can add text to describe any level of detail. Then viewpoints, any viewpoints we can consider, but not specific support for any other particular viewpoint. Then viewpoint consistency, it is manual reviews and with some inspection. Then the next one, informal graphical model. Okay. These are the general diagrams produced in tools like PowerPoint and OmniGraffle. Are the tools OmniGraffle and PowerPoints we are using for the informal graphical modeling. What are the advantages? It can be aesthetically pleasing, means we can beautify it, we can make it something more beautiful. Then size limitations, one slide or one page. It is generally constant complexity of a diagram. Extremely flexible due to large symbolic vocabulary. Since it has a large symbolic vocabulary, it is more flexible. Disadvantage, it is ambiguous, non-rigorous and non-formal, but often treated. Otherwise, it cannot be effectively processed or analyzed by the machine or software. Now, three components you can check: the data stock, the calculation and the user interface. Okay. Here, the data store will store the height, velocity, fuel and simulation time. The calculation part or the calculation component will take the burn rate, calculate new height, the velocity, fuel, simulator time and check for the termination time. Then the user interface will display the simulation data status, get new burn rate and invoke the calculation. Now, some related alternatives of the any other tool, the informal graphical evaluation. Previously, we were telling about the OmniGraffle and PowerPoint. Also, we have an alternative like the Microsoft Visio. This can be extended with some semantic transcripts and other additional programming. Generally, it ends up with somewhere in between a custom notation specific editor and a generic diagram editor. It is limited by the extensibility of the tool. Then PowerPoint design editor, another one. These are some alternatives by the Goldman and Bulger. It was an interesting project that was attempted to integrate some semantic aspects into the PowerPoint. Okay. And their evaluation, which were the informal graphical evaluation. First, the scope and purpose. Arbitrary diagrams consist of some symbols and text. The basic elements, what we are using, the geometric shapes, the splines, clip art, and the text segments. Then the style, in general, it will not support any style. The static and dynamic aspects. Any aspects can be modeled, but no semantics behind the model. Then dynamic model, rare. All the APIs to manipulate the graphic exist. Then the non-functional aspects with natural language annotations. Then ambiguity, it can be reduced through the use of rigorous symbolic vocabulary dictionaries. Then accuracy, the manual reviews and inspections. Then precision, it is up to the modeler. Generally, canvas is limited in the size. The precision means it is up to the modeler. Our canvas is limited in size. Means we have only single slide. What much we can extend it up to the modeler. Then viewpoints, any viewpoint, but no specific support for any particular viewpoint. Then viewpoint consistency, manual reviews and inspections. Okay, first manual review, then inspect. Then UML, Unified Modeling Language. 13 loosely interconnected notations called diagrams that capture the static and dynamic aspects of the software intensive systems. What are the advantages? Now it supports for a diverse array of viewpoints focused on many common software engineering concerns. Ubiquity improves the compressibility. Then it extensive documentation and support a large wide number of tools for many vendors. Disadvantages, it needs customization through profile to reduce the ambiguity. It is difficult to assess the consistency among the views. Also, it is difficult to capture foreign concepts or views. Foreign concept means one which is not directly associated with your architecture. So it is difficult to capture the foreign concepts. Now, some UML diagrams.
You have read it. You have read it. Remember it. Yesterday only we have done it. To try to remember all these things. Yes.
Yes, sir. Now, in the UML examples, the class diagram, the diagrams which are associated are the three main things we have to consider here. First is the user interface, the calculation, and the data store. Okay. The first, you can check the second figure. The user interface, it will get the bond rate and will calculate and will request for the calculate.
It is a sequence diagram. It is a sequence diagram.
Yes, sir. It will request for the, it will get the bond rate, then calculate. Then in the data store, it will store the values by calling with the values get values. Then it will send the values, perform the calculation and store the value. Get value, perform calculation and store the value. So this is a sequence diagram for now. This is some diagrams, UML example. And the next one is first thing, calculate the new. Now we will get back with the new values. Okay. Now calculate the new values of the height, velocity, time and fuel. Then display to the lunar lander state through the get bond rate from the user. The user will provide the get bond rate. Okay, these are some UML diagram examples. And the evaluation, again there will be 11 parameters for the evaluation. First one, the scope and purpose. This is the diverse array of design decisions in 13 viewpoints. The basic elements are multitude states, classes, objects, and the composite nodes are the basic element. What the style? The OCL constants or the OCL constants.
That object constraint language, they have read it yesterday.
Yes, sir.
They have read it. Object constraint language. To put the constraints, how the constraints to behave, that is the OCL. They have read it in the lab. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Then the static and dynamic aspects. Some static diagram aspects, like the static one is the class, the package, and some dynamics are the state, activities, means the how the system will run in the system. This is the activity or the state, and which state the system is. So these are some static and dynamic aspects. Then the dynamic model. These are very rare and it depends upon the environment in which platform or environment you are doing your modeling. Then the non-functional aspects, no direct support of any non-functional properties, and there are some natural language analysis. Ambiguity. Many symbols are interpreted differently depending on the constraint. This is the profile reduced ambiguity. So there are many symbols are interpreted differently. It depends on the context. In the context, we have to use which symbol we have to use, and it will also reduce the profiles ambiguity. Then accuracy, well-formedness, checks, automatic constraints, checking, and asked tools and methods and the manuals we are using for it. Then precision up to it is again depends on the modeler. It has a wide flexibility. What extent you are modeling it, it depends on you. Then the viewpoints, each diagram type represents a viewpoint. More can be added through some overloading or by you adding the profiles. Then the viewpoint consistency, it constrains the checking, asks the tool methods and by using the manual, we can do the viewpoint consistency. And in the next class,
Yes. So dear students, you remember these 11 parameters to evaluate any particular style,
models.
any particular model, any particular model. So we'll be covering one after another. Therefore, go back to slide number which one? 33. That Darwin, all those things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, go back. Go back. Just go back.
This one.
There are, I think there are nine. I think 9 more. Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Very nice. There are 9 different models. 9 different models we will study one by one and evaluate using the 11 parameters. Yes. So keep always UML, you have done it so thoroughly in the lab. Always keep that thing in mind. And for example, we will be doing for Darwin. So what we had done in UML, what was the outcome using these 11 parameters? And now, after studying Darwin, how things are getting changing. Using ACME, SCME, the third row, the last point, how ACME is changing from UML. So you need to make a cross verification with UML because you have studied UML so thoroughly. So what was the 11 parameters in UML? What is those 11 parameters in Darwin or Rapid or Write or Koala or ADL or ACME? What is the difference? You need to understand. Then only you will feel it interesting. Okay? Achha, now boys, have you used this Blackboard very confidently by now? Blackboard? Hello?
Yes.
You can write the 11 points very confidently without any problem. Pratik Jaiswal.
Yes,
Jaiswal. आप
yes, sir.
ब्लैकबोर्ड खोल के 11 पॉइंट लिखो तो लिखो बोलो कितना दिन 4 बार डांस करोगे कब से छुट्टी हो मैंने दशहरा चली गई करो ओपन द ब्लैकबोर्ड कोशिश करो सीखने के लिए हाउ यू विल डू दैट या शेयर करो कैसे करोगे हाउ यू विल या कैसे तुम लिखोगे दिखाओ सबको ज्ञान दो 11 points. What are the 11 parameters? How you will evaluate the model? कैसे करोगे? How you will write the 11 points? नहीं होगा
I don't remember.
I don't know. मैं तो नाचने वाला हूँ See, कब से when since long we are studying in MS team, since long. कितना दिन टाइम बेकार मिस यूज करोगे? Anybody who can do it very fast? Anybody? Raise your hand. कितना दिन लाडला बन के रहोगे? कितना दिन लाडला? मम्मा मेरे को दूध पिला दे, चम्मच में खिला दो, कितना दिन? Anybody who can do it very fast? सर आपका नसीब खराब है, सब लाडले ही हैं. You don't feel bad to hear that all are babies, all are crawling, nobody can ride fast. Nobody. Chandrakant?
Yes, sir.
वोट देने के लिए चले जाते हो बाहर और यहाँ घर में सीखने के लिए
Sir,
कोई
I need to write all the styles.
11 parameters to evaluate a model. अभी जो तुरंत अभी जो खत्म किए, अभी 11 पैरामीटर. जा मुंडी में तो नहीं है, लिखोगे क्या? लिखने भी पता नहीं, मुंडी में तो है ही नहीं. मुंडी को क्या देखो भैया, जब पढ़ाते हैं क्यों नहीं हाथ चलता है इधर? Why your hands are not at the same time making notes? सर इसीलिए तुमको शर्मा बोलता है ये सब घटिया कॉलेज से पास किए हैं. देख रहे हो ना तुम्हारा दोस्त गिविंग ए बैड नेम टू यू. Those 11 parameters, if I tell you, you have to write fatapat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11. जब तक nobody tells you, you don't study. मेरे को गारबा डांस बहुत बढ़िया लगता है. इतना दिन, how many days? Nobody. All the boys who have some problem, all are sick. Andrila?
Yes, sir.
Yet help him. 11 points. 11.
Accuracy is there one.
Not this. Just now we covered. Just now the UML, how we evaluated the 11 using 11 parameters. Just now we did.
Few points.
I do write down. I all the time tell that these are the important things: scope and purpose, basic elements, style, static and dynamic aspects, dynamic models, non-functional. Non-functional means quality parameter. How qualitatively they are okay. What is the ambiguity? How much accuracy it gives? What is the precision it provides? What are the viewpoints associated with it? What is the consistency with the viewpoint? These are the 11 parameters by which we evaluate a model is a good one, a right one to help us or not. When Devabhaya is writing, he is telling something, those which are important. I told you that these are the 11 points we will be using it. The same casual, careless attitude you are continuing. Why your hand is not being utilized to make notes when Devabhaya is telling something? Something positive in mind. Be positive. If I ask you, then your face becomes dark. आप देख रहे हो ना प्रतीक बाबू, आपकी कितना दुखी कंडीशन है, दुखी. ठीक है, ट्राई टू बी ए गुड बॉय. Try to be a good boy. You have the talent, Pratik. Just you have become too much careless, casual. थोड़ा सा अपने आप को चेंज करने के लिए कोशिश करो. You have the talent. I have tested you. You have the talent. You have the interest. थोड़ी सी प्रेशर चाहिए, तुम सुधर जाओगे. ये मेरी impression है. Okay, we'll close down. Okay, Deba will close down. But before you close down, we will ask you to show the 8 matrices one by one. Let us do that because connectors are most important. ऋषभ, आप आ जाओ ऋषभ. ऋषभ.
Sir, you have given that assignment for Monday.
मंडे बोला था.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा. और आपके कोई क्या है? एक जितेंद्र, डाटा एक्सेस निर्मल, लिंकेज सिद्धार्थ, आर्बिट्रेटर राकेश, अडेप्टर राहुल, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर सोमो, स्ट्रीम प्रतीक. प्रतीक आप बनाए हो ना, मंडे को करोगे सब. ओके मंडे को. यार मेरा तो डांस खत्म नहीं हो रहा है. प्रतीक मान जाता है. प्रतीक अच्छा लग रहा है, मान जाता है. ओके ओके, I'll do it on Monday. Okay, we'll close it down. Okay, we'll close it down. Debo, take the attendance. Okay, take the attendance. You have got that, Debo, I think the control now, na? You can check the attendance in the team, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you open that 3 dots.
Yes, sir, I told Nirmal to open actually today.
Oh, then Nirmal has the, I think.
Organizers. I told Nirmal, I called him in and he has given the link to him.
Okay, so you can't take the attendance. Okay, you take the attendance one by one.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Check it.
Just a minute, sir.
For me, attendance is not an important parameter. I know in some places, yesterday Ingole couldn't join. Day before yesterday, Debobhaya couldn't join. I know in this country, internet is a big problem in some locations. In some locations, power is not there available. So I know it. But I want to see how much conscious or serious. If one day you are absent, next day you will be definitely present. Okay. Okay, Debo.
Yes.
Take the attendance and close it. I'm quitting. Okay.
Because
Present, sir.
Jitendra.
Yes, sir, present.
Osim Guleria. Osim absent. Asutosh Gupta.
Present, sir.
Subham Kulkarni.
Present, sir.
Mohammad Rekaz.
Present, sir. Vikas present.
Mohammad Rekaz present.
Yes, sir. Present, sir. Mohammed Vikas present.
Irfan present.
Present, sir.
Siddharth Raut.
Present, sir.
Siddharth Andrela Saha.
Present, sir.
Ranveer Singh.
Yes, sir, present.
Soma Sakhar.
Present, sir.
Soma Sakhar.
Present, sir.
Soma Sakhar.
Sir, Soma Sekhar is present.
Rishabh Soni.
Present, sir. Sir.
Rahul sir. Also Rahul sir.
Yes, sir. Present, sir. Rahul Sahu.
हाँ और sir. Absent. Chandrakant.
Present, sir.
Shibam Dalmia. Shibam Dalmia absent. Guduri Achyut.
मम्मी अभी तक नहीं आया लगता है.
Achyut absent. Rakesh Kumar.
Yes, sir, Rakesh Kumar.
Mohendra Sharma
Present, sir.
और Srilekha.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
जी,
Sir,
बोलिए.
Somasekhar is saying that his mic is not working.
हाँ, Somasekhar present. I have marked him as a present.
Sir, Rishabh Soni also present, sir.
Asim Guleria, Akshay Kumar, Shibam Dalmia, Achyut Kumar. 4 absent. Okay, thank you.